Hi everyone, it's Angeline here at etrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at the Kuat Sherpa 2.0 2-bike rack right here on our 2018 Volkswagen Atlas. So the Kuat Sherpa just pretty much checks off all the boxes without being as pricey as the Kuat NV. You have the Kuat signature look. You can get this in gray, you can get this in black, you can get this in pearl, kind of anything you want to match your vehicle. You also have your tilt-away features. You got pretty decent weight capacity, but not electric bike weight capacity. It's just a really nice compact bike rack. So we're going to take a look at the different features of this bike rack and just see how it works with our Volkswagen Atlas, just to see if it fits you, your bicycles, and your vehicle. So the first thing we're going to look at is the tilt-away feature. Notice how we have this lever right over here. We're going to want to pull that lever, and then if you go to the side, you'll be able to see how this tilts down all the way down to there. So we got a pretty decent tilt on here. And why would you want to tilt your bike rack away? Well, if you want to access your hatch without having to take your bikes off, this is what you need. So you can see here on our Volkswagen Atlas how we have clearance between our door and our handlebars and our pedals, allowing us to access our trunk, grab whatever we need, whether it's our helmets, our bags, our waters. We can do so real quick without having to take our bikes off, which also means we can get back onto the trail that much faster. To bring it back up, you just push it up and it snaps into place. Everything about the Kuat Sherpa is very smooth. The way it glides down, the way it glides back up. I just think it's a really good quality bike rack. But anyways, we'll talk about how our bike is mounted. This does have a weight capacity of 40 pounds per bike, which is slightly more than your traditional bike racks, which is helpful because I have my women's bike here. It's 39 pounds, more than the 35-pound weight capacity other bike racks have. And with this bike rack, I don't have to worry about it not being too heavy. Also, with the frame we have here, we have this front wheel mount, which holds our bike in place, and that's super duper helpful. I like pretty much any bike rack that has that kind of frame mount, or wheel mount, just because it makes it easier to mount and dismount your bike. Also, depending on your different style of frames, women's frame, no problem. Kids frame, step-through frame, those usually need a frame adapter bar. I don't have to worry about that with this. If you have a carbon fiber frame bike, the hooks could possibly warp or damage that frame. Again, not an issue with a front wheel mount. Now, what's also holding it in place is our rear wheel strap. So this is just securing it, and this is the first thing you take off when you want to take off your bike. So you press that lever, and then you pull up on the strap, bring this over to the side, and just leave it there so it doesn't get caught up in your spokes. And then you go over to the front, hold on to your bike as you do so, because once you disengage it, it can tilt back towards your glass, and you don't want that to happen. So supporting your bike, you press this button, push this up, push it out, and just like that, we are now ready to take our bike off. So I'm gonna leave this over to the side, right there, so that we can take a closer look at the bike rack itself. So this is a compact bike rack, especially when you compare it to the Kuat Transfer or the Kuat NV. Everything just folds into place. So you have this rear cradle here. This pivots back and forth to accommodate different wheelbases. You have it all the way to the side. The maximum wheelbase this can carry is up to 48 inches. You have your different grooves on the inside as well for your different tire widths. And then your strap secures that rear wheel. Coming over to the front, same kind of thing. You have different grooves for your different tire widths, and then this folds down to be nice, compact, and neat. Now, we talked about how much I like how I like any bike that has a front wheel mount like this. This folds down and folds down again, so you can see how everything just works together to be more compact. Now, whenever you have any type of thing on your hitch, there's gonna be some length added to the back of your vehicle. Right here on our Volkswagen Atlas, I'm gonna take some measurements, and that's gonna be the length added with the Kuat Sherpa. So measuring from our bumper to the end of the bike rack, we have it at 30 inches of length. So whenever you're backing into your garage or trying to park into a tight spot, you already have a kind of a big vehicle over here. So if you have a small garage, that could be an issue for you. That measurement is just gonna help you get going, figure out what kind of space you have to deal with. Let's also talk about ground clearance. So ground clearance is gonna be measured kind of at the end of the bike rack here. To the ground, we have it at 19 inches. Now compare that to the shank, where it sits at only 10 3/4 inches. So ground clearance is important whenever you go up those steep inclines, like your driveways or your hills. Your front will go up, your back will go down, and you have an okay clearance here, but not the best. Like I've seen SUVs and trucks with much better ground clearance. So still something to be mindful. Good thing you have the shank rise here, so your bikes sit higher up off the ground compared to if they were directly straight across from the hitch. Now, remember when we talked about the length added to the back of the vehicle? What if it's too much? What if your garage is too small? What you can do is make this a little bit more compact. So remember that lever we used to tilt down our bike rack? We're gonna use that lever again, but this time push up on the rack and then it snaps into place beside the vehicle. So we'll take a couple measurements with it in this position. Over here, we have our clearance from the bumper to the bike rack. So if you can take a look at that, we have about 1.5 inches of clearance. It looks like it comes close, but this is a really sturdy bike rack, so it's not getting any closer than that. Length added to the back of our vehicle is now from the bumper to the tray about 5.5 inches, but sticks out further here towards the bottom, and that's 12 inches away from our bumper. So big difference compared to when the tray was folded down. You'll definitely want it in this position when you're just driving around town, maybe need a parallel park in the city, and you don't have enough space for 2 bikes behind you. This is also the position you'd have it in if you're storing it in your garage. With it like this though, remember, your bikes are off. So let's talk about living with this bike rack. With this behind your vehicle, notice how our rear window is completely visible right over there easily. Our taillights are visible as well, which is great. Now our backup camera sits right over here above our bike rack. So what's gonna happen is out of your backup camera, you are gonna see everything behind you, but you're also gonna see your bike rack, which could be an issue for you. If it's a major issue, no problem, because the solution for that is just to fold the bike rack down. Notice how easy it is to do that. You can do it by holding the bike rack with one hand, stepping on this lever, bringing this down, which makes it easier for if you're holding your bike in the other hand. Another option for if you want to have your bike backup camera completely visible. Your license plate sits slightly above the bike rack, still kind of obstructed, just something to think about. But let's talk about how this fits into our hitch. So we have a 2-inch hitch receiver here on our Volkswagen Atlas. For some vehicles, they can have different size hitches. You can get 1.25 inches, you can get 2-inch. Here we have a 2-inch hitch, so we have the 2-inch version of the Kuat Sherpa. Again, you can have options for the Kuat Sherpa. Make sure to get the one that matches your hitch receiver. So this has a pin and a lock. That lock is key to the cable lock that you can get with this bike rack. But what tightens it down are not tools, are not wrenches, but this knob over here. So if you tighten that knob down, it extends a ball cam on the inside of your hitch receiver, creating an anti-rattle effect. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shake this bike rack just to show how that works. Some bike racks have bolts, some have this, which is the ball cam. And with that in place, let's try our shake test as I shake our bike rack just to simulate that road sway and road vibration. Notice how I'm really just moving the vehicle at this point. It shows that we don't get extra rattle from an improper fit. It's a nice, secure fit. It works really well in making for a smoother ride for your bikes overall. So my personal thoughts about the Kuat Sherpa is I'm just a huge fan of its design. If you don't want something that's as bulky as the Kuat NV, you like a little bit more minimalistic, a little bit more compact, I would go with the Kuat Sherpa. It's just a good looking bike rack and it works well. But if you have a heavy electric bike that's over 40 pounds, this is not gonna be the best fit for you. If you have a fat tire bike with over 3-inch wide tires, not gonna be the best bet for you. If you have difficulty lifting things up onto your Sherpa, hey, maybe you might want to consider the Kuat NV with the access ramp. But all in all, I think it works really, really well. Another similar bike rack is the Rocky Mounts Monorail. That works well too, has a similar design, but a little bit more of a weight capacity. But this right here was a quick look at our Kuat Sherpa 2.0 two-bike platform rack right here on our 2018 Volkswagen Atlas. Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners or evasive maneuvers. Once we get to the alternating speed bumps, we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or a pothole or driving over uneven pavement. Now lastly, we're going over some full speed bumps, and we can see here the up and down action, and this will just be like driving in and out of a parking lot, garage, or driveway. So we can see here how the bike rack moves with our truck.